All right, here we go. Today's words, the words of encouragement for today. I want to talk about righteousness. Now, righteousness is not something that I have to spend a lot of time explaining, I don't think, but what I do want to do is spend a little time about what the Bible says. Now, the Bible says that it's not my righteousness that gets me to perfect harmony, gets me in right standing with God. It's imputed righteousness from Jesus, and that makes me breathe a little easy, because if I'm honest, and I will be, even on this side of the addiction, even on this side of God saving me, sometimes I try to be righteous. I try to live a righteous life, but when I try to do righteous things that aren't really to glorify God, some selfishness, some pride, some self-serving stuff kind of creeps in there, and I don't become righteous, I become right-ish. You know what I mean? Right-ish. And that doesn't get you home. The imputed righteousness of Jesus does. And there's this verse in Proverbs chapter 28, verse 1, that talks about righteousness and gives two action points, and it's awesome. It's one of my favorite verses. It's my mentor's favorite verse. Here it is. Proverbs 28, 1. The wicked flee when no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Whew. That's awesome. Now, the action points are obviously the wicked flee, wickedness and fleeing, and then righteousness and boldness. Two action points. And I remember so often when I was living a life of wickedness, when I was choosing to serve Adam, when I was choosing to do things to glorify me, didn't care who I hurt, didn't care what I did, as long as it was bringing me brief pleasure, I would do it. And what that life did, I guess the scriptures are so true, because it was a life of fleeing. I found myself always on the defense, very defensive, in every conversation, in every relationship, just in life. I was defensive, and things were fleeing. My joy was fleeing, my happiness, my self-worth, my just every aspect of my life was just fleeing away because I was living wicked. And man, when God saved me, and I learned about this imputed righteousness of Jesus, everything changed. Everything changed. And what I learned was, it wasn't just this righteousness and do what you think you should do, but the Bible gives action points. I wanted to live righteous. What does the Bible say? How do I do that? And so I go from Proverbs in the Old Testament, and I read in Romans chapter 1 in the New Testament. It says that the righteous shall live by faith. And so there's this faith element. And it wasn't just this intellectual faith, it was effectual faith. Intellectual faith, intellectual belief. The Bible says even the demons believe and they shudder. So it can't just be about having the knowledge of it and believing it. There had to be something about it changing and affecting your life. Like, I believe that God loved the world so much that he sent his son to live perfect and die and impute his righteousness, his perfection to those who believe. Not just intellectually, but effectually. The Bible doesn't say that the gospel is for everyone. The Bible says that the gospel is for everyone who believes. When you dive in and you begin to grow in this faith, things will change. Things will change because you'll start to see that life of wickedness, and you'll start to say, no, I'm not going to manipulate. Not because you want to be a better person, because you want to bring God glory. Not because you don't want to get in trouble, because you don't want to upset Abba Father. And watch what happens. Brother and sister, here's my encouragement. When you begin to live this life of faith to righteousness, watch your life begin to roar like a lion.